friend.
Corey Finley, friend.
Brooke Alexander, friend.
Chelsea Wise, neighbor.
Calvin Stab, friend.
The city of Colby has been around for over 100 years, but hasn't always been located where it is or named what it is now. While Colby has never been a very big town, it's amazing that it's stayed alive throughout all it's been through. Most people who go through Colby will never even know its history. Have you ever wondered why Colby is located where it is? Why Colby is named Colby? These are the questions that are about to be answered. The city of Colby has been around for a lot longer than most of us expect. To be more exact, Colby was the first town established in Thomas County, but it wasn't called Colby at the time. Not only has Colby gotten a new name, but it was also moved from where it was first established. The population of Colby has been like a roller coaster ever since it was created, but even with all the hardships, it has persevered. The city of Colby has been around for over 100 years, been moved and renamed, and miraculously stayed alive even with its shifting population. On October 8, 1885, Thomas County was organized by a large number of people, including the one and only J.R. Colby. Thomas County was named after a very famous Civil War Major General, George H. Thomas. Old Colby, called Otterbourne, was the very first town in Thomas County. Otterbourne was located 8.5 miles north and 4 miles east of Colby today. The first settlers arrived in Otterbourne in 1879. This makes Colby 139 years old. According to the Kansas Historical Society, for a few years the region remained sparsely settled, but in 1885 the county's population exceeded 5,000. With the exploding population and the soon coming of the railroad in 1887, about 8 miles south of where they were settled, the people of Otterbourne were in desperate need of relocation. As previously stated, the railroad was scheduled to come to Thomas County in the summer of 1887. With it planned to be built 8 miles north of Old Colby, the leaders of the town knew that this would be too far to constantly haul goods and crops. And with their growing population, they needed more space for their growing town. So they picked up their town, located northeast of Colby today, and relocated it to its present location where the railroad was being built. Old Colby, or Otterbourne, is now owned entirely by Dan and Janet Schrader, where they live and operate their ranch. Today, Otterbourne is nothing but pasture land with a few old broken down foundations. According to the Prairie Museum of Art and History, J.R. Colby secured his government patent for his town on April 10, 1884. For 2 months, there were 40 to 50 men boarding at Old Colby, waiting to start the new town. It didn't take long for the first hotel, post office, school, or store to open up in the new popular location. 2 brickyards were established along the creek that flows into Colby from the south. Many business structures were built with this Colby-produced brick. The railroad was laid in the summer of 1887 by the Union Pacific Oakley-Colby branch. Getting moved and renamed isn't the only hardship that Colby has gone through. With Colby's exploding population and the need for space and housing, there were many hardships down the road. The people of Colby had a lot to do in a little amount of time to get ready for the railroad. They had to make a town that would occupy 5,000 plus people, and in just 2 years. When the railroads finally came along, after 2 long years, they laid tracks as far as Norton, but threatened to halt operations unless the people of Thomas County paid them $60,000. While $60,000 may not sound like much, it is equivalent to about $1.7 million in today's terms. By some miracle, Colby raised the money through bond elections, and the first train came into Colby on June of 1888. Over the next few years, Colby's prosperity came and went with the rains. The population declined as the weather proved unfavorable for farming. During the rainy years, Colby's population would drastically increase and would do the opposite during the dry years. In 1956, the Federal Highway Act was signed into law. This act initiated the constitution and the construction of the interstate system. The interstate just so happened to pass right south of Colby. The opening of the interstate in 1965 has a huge effect on the development of Colby. Colby continues to be drawn south to the interstate just as it was moved to the site of the coming railroad. This caused Colby to turn itself into the classic I-town shape, meaning that when the railroad was popular, there was a large line of businesses. Next to it with a skinny line of businesses running toward the interstate today, where there is now a large line of businesses there. Throughout all the years and all the hardships, Colby has been able to persevere and continues to be a small but nice town. Colby is a nice little town and has been around for a very long time, been moved and renamed and overcome many hardships. While Colby is a really boring place to live in, its history is really quite interesting. While Colby is there are so many questions that arise when learning about your hometown, many of which have a very simple answer that make so much sense when read. Without the many people who took it upon themselves to lead the people of Colby and the railroad and the interstate, Colby would have never survived. It is important that we know these very important things that make the town we live in, which has an enormous effect on our lives today.